Now let's talk about the structure of cerebellum. Cerebellum located at the back of the brain, immediately inferior to the occipitals and temporal lobes, and within the posterior cranial fossa. There are two deep grooves on the surface of the cerebellum that divide the cerebellum into three lobes. The primary fissures above the cerebellum, which divides the cerebellum into anterior and posterior lobes. Below the cerebellum, the posterior lobes is divided by the posterior lateral fissure between the posterior lobes and the faciolar lobes. The anterior and the posterior lobes are collectively referred to as the grooves of cerebellum, which form the main body of the cerebellum and is further divided into several lobes. Let's look at the cerebellum from another perspective. As shown in the pictures, the cerebellum is mainly divided into two hemispheres, called the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. You can also see the lobes and the fissures we mentioned earlier in this picture. In addition, there are also veins and medifolia on the cerebellum.
So now let's look at the coronal section of the cerebellum from the posterior view. As you can see, the gray matter of the cerebellum is folded just like the surface of cerebrum, and the fold we call it as folia. Whereas for the white matter of the cerebellum, we can see the tree-branch structure, which we call the arbor vitae. And deep within the white matter, we can find several cerebellar nuclei. They contain the multipolar neurons, and the axons form the cerebellar peduncles. So what are the cerebellar peduncles? Cerebellar peduncles are structures that connect the cerebellum to the brainstem. They consist of superior cerebellar peduncle, middle cerebellar peduncles, and inferior cerebellar peduncles. The superior cerebellar peduncles connect the cerebellum to the midbrain, right? And then the middle cerebellar peduncles connect the cerebellum to the pons, whereas the inferior cerebellar peduncles connect the cerebellum to the medulla.
The cerebellum plays a role in motor movement regulation and balance control, and cerebellum functions are adjusting postural muscle, programming and fine-tuning movement control at conscious and subconscious level.
Function of cerebellum. The main function of cerebellum is to maintain body balance, regulate muscle tension, and coordinate voluntary movement. According to the functional difference of the cerebellum can be divided into three main functional parts. There is vestibular cerebellum, spinal cerebellum, and cortical cerebellum. The first function is regulate body balance and normal posture by receive and integrate impulse from vestibular organ and control the vestibular nucleus through afferent fiber to maintain the body balance. The second function is to regulate muscle tension. The anterior lobe of the cerebellum regulates muscle tension through the brainstem network structure to ensure normal activity of the body. The third function is to coordinate voluntary movement. The cerebellum relies on the proprioception and touch of the spinal cord to constantly check and correct deviation, and after so many contacts, the cerebral cortex and cerebellum continue to engage in joint activity to coordinate the movement.